Well, we are here to discuss about the all-important game that happened last night. And to talk more about it, we have two of the esteemed panelists here with me. You have Tasmeen Granger and you have Naledi. Tasmeen, I'll come to you straight. Just take us through the match that happened yesterday. It was one of the biggest shockers where you had Netherlands just completely taking over the other big side. Your views?
Yeah, definitely. We did say yesterday that there's so much room in this World Cup for obviously the smaller teams to be able to come out and show what they have. We do know Netherlands had a great campaign leading up to this, obviously having played Scotland to make their way through to the World Cup qualifiers, through the qualifiers into the World Cup. And definitely I think they put on a great performance. We see them lose a couple of early wickets up front. Definitely not the greatest start for them, but they were well supported. Their captain managed to stick around, obviously, and get going and keep going. And as well as that, he had good support leading up to the tail ends from the likes of Roelof van der Merwe, as well as Aryan Dutt. In return, South Africa didn't really manage to get going from a start. I think perfectly a great strategy from the Netherlands to keep spin bowlers on for a lot longer and actually use them up front in the power play.
Well, that was an interesting part that we discussed about the way South Africans played. But it is a great departure from where they had actually begun their campaign, you know.
Yeah, definitely. They started off with 2 wins, comfortable ones as well. I have a bit of right to question Themba Bavuma's thinking in honestly picking to bowl first, as opposed to the fact that they've been having a bad first up front and looking pretty comfortable about it.
Absolutely. Now, let's get another sportscaster, the radio podcaster from South Africa who's joined us today. Naledi, what went wrong with South Africa?
Man, what a way to start the match. I believe that we started really well because at some point we were sitting comfortably right there on the scoreboard looking something like 82 for 5. And I thought to myself, we have got this in the bag. But however, like Tasman is saying, that we should have chosen to actually bat first instead of bowling first, because in the last 2 games, the first 2 games that we've played in the World Cup so far, which we've won comfortably, came from winning that toss and obviously choosing to bat first. So I think in the next match, should we win the toss again, we know what to do differently. And of course, I am questioning Themba Bavuma as well. He's the only South African within the squad that does not really have the numbers to prove that he is the captain of that team. So going into the next game against England, he has a lot to prove, not only to himself, but to the whole country.
Well, that's an interesting take that you've taken on Themba Bavuma. Do you think the bowling, Van der Merwe, what we discussed, Tasmeen, was really brilliant on that particular day?
Yeah, definitely. We did actually mention it.
Yes.
I did put it out there yesterday that Roelof van der Merwe hasn't done much in terms of taking wickets, but he's definitely been up there for New Zealand in terms of creating that pressure and seeing him taking over wickets in the middle overs. He definitely came out yesterday and showed what he's got. Obviously, he's a very passionate player. You should understand. I get where he's coming from. You know, he's been on both ends of this coin. He's played for South Africa at some point, as well as he's playing for New Zealand now. So probably a lot on the line for him yesterday and a lot of emotion as well.
Well, it is also the first time when you get an associate member to actually win such a high-profile game against a high-profile team. Your views? Yeah,
definitely. So as you know, this is the first time, obviously, Netherlands is beating a test-playing nation. Not only this, but this is their 3rd win out of 23 games at the World Cup. So yeah, big things for them. We did see Afghanistan do it as well again, not so long ago in the past couple of days. And I did say that the gap between test-playing nations and associate members is actually getting smaller and smaller, and it's evident in this World Cup.
Well, the gap is decreasing, and with this shock defeat, the tables have really opened, and you can actually see the way the table standing looks like. If my PCR can show me what the standing looks like, India is at number 1 with 3 matches, New Zealand at 3, South Africa still at number 3, Pakistan has made it to number 4, England at number 5, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Australia, Netherlands at 9 and Sri Lanka at 10. Wow, what a match this is turning out to be. What a nice way of putting things together in this tournament, and we are just 3 matches away. Naledi, do you think that South Africans have a hope, or they're still continuing the ghost of chokers and the tag of chokers in the big match in the ICC tournament?
I mean, I think if there is such a thing to say, I think we've lost the right match, considering how we always choke in the semi-finals. So this was the right match to lose. I believe that we'll go back to the drawing board and just analyze what went wrong, what can we do better in the next round. Of course, and I have to mention the fact that Kagiso Rabada finally got his 150th ODI wicket in this.
But wasn't he little too expensive when it comes down to the death over bowling? Your views?
It was. I feel like we bowled too shortly, especially towards the end of the match. That's why I'm saying we've lost the right match, and that will also have to be fixed going into the next match against England.
Well, that's very certain that with England, that's going to be a clash of the bigger teams. Tasmin, you've got to add something here in the statistics of the
definitely.
match.
I think it's a key point just to the youngsters out there playing the game, as well as any other team looking forward to anything going on in this World Cup. South Africa bowled 32 extras yesterday and went on to lose the match by 35 runs. Sometimes the extras can make the difference as well, so it's something for them to definitely look out for.
Well, that's interesting. On that interesting point, we have Riyad Emrit, the former West Indian cricketer, international cricketer, is talking about the upcoming match today between New Zealand and Riyad, I'm glad you could join in. New Zealand are undefeated so far, while Afghanistan have just picked up a win. What are your views on that particular match?
They're world-class spinners, the both of them, Mujib as well as Rashid. They're very, very good spinners. They've shown it against England. I still think New Zealand has the edge. I still think they're going to come out victorious. They're very good, but I still think New Zealand is going to come out on.
Well, how do you see, Rad, how do you see which New Zealand batsman holds the key, as Williamson has again picked up an injury? Do you think it's a blessing in disguise?
Afghanistan defeating the world champions in the last match. Obviously, they're coming into this game on a very, very high note. I still think that New Zealand, however, is going to be victorious in this game. I don't think that Afghanistan has been consistently well throughout the last 12 months. I still think they're a bit up and down. New Zealand, however, knows how to win. They're very good at doing it. And I think they're the ones who are going to be victorious this game.
Wow, that's interesting. Again, joining us on the live discussion is Chaya Mughal, the cricketer, the legendary cricketer from UAE and the skipper of the team. Chaya, which New Zealand batsman holds the key in today's match?
Williamson's absence is a major setback for his team right now at this moment, because he is considered as one of the best batters in this format of the game. Without Williamson, the team might have to go through a testing time. But all thanks to the exemplary batting form displayed by Rachin Ravindra, Daryl Mitchell and none other than Devon Conway, I think the New Zealand would be likely to bring in Will Young to replace Kane, and the rest of the combination should be the same.
Well, which side Chaya would be under a lot of pressure today, considering it's the heat of Chennai and also Afghanistan walking in with a win under their belt? Chaya.
Well, I think none of the team will be under any sort of pressure, because Afghanistan, they were on heaven's land after their stunning victory over England, and New Zealand, with their unbeaten winning streak, back-to-back wins in the past 3 games, have placed them at number 2 in the points table. I think New Zealand will be aiming to continue with their winning momentum. However, Afghanistan will be definitely aiming to create another upset to steer their campaign in this World Cup. With cricket being so unpredictable, I can assure you, in fact I can ensure that this game is going to be a close contested match, which is going to be full of excitement and fun. So let's wait and watch.
Well, absolutely, it's full of excitement. Thank you, Chaya, for joining us right now. Tasmin, if you look at it the way one team goes in as a giant killer, the other one goes in as like the finalist and the crowd favorite. What are your views on the match today? Would we see another upset, or will it be a closely contested match? Yeah.
I think definitely. I'm not exactly going to put a judge on this one today, But definitely, I think it's going to be a closely contested match. You have Afghanistan on one hand feeling super confident after their game against England. But you do have New Zealand that's been performing all round well, be it with the ball and with the bat, as well as they've done some great work out in the field. I think key players for me today is definitely going to be Daryl Mitchell. He's coming off a case of scoring 89 runs in his previous game. I'd like to see guys like Tom Latham step up, as well as Devon Conway if he gets a chance. So I think it's going to be a good game for me, but not leaving out the fact that there are key bowlers for Afghanistan in the likes of Rashid Khan as well as Mujib. So this is going to be a good game. We've seen what happens when Afghanistan gets firing. We've seen what happens when their spinners manage to find their line early on up front, not to leave out that they are well supported by their seamers as well. So definitely I think Afghanistan, coming from a game where they played all-round percentage cricket, a lot is going on for them right now. You have the likes of Ikram Alil Akil, who came through at the end as well for Afghanistan with the bat. So they're not entirely relying just on one person to carry the team through.
Well, absolutely. They don't rely, and the way it has turned out, do you think it's become the World Cup for the wicketkeepers, or by the wicketkeepers they've made it very important? Because both the important upsets had a big role of the wicketkeepers scoring those quick fire. Your views on that?
Yeah, definitely. You do see that a lot of wicketkeepers have actually come to the show in this World Cup. I think being the case that they're easier, they spend their day standing behind the stumps. They spend their day getting a chance, a good look at the pitch, watching how it's behaving, watching how batters have to adjust here and there. And by the time they do come into bat, be it that they've been out there fielding before they come out to bat, they've had a good idea of what's actually happening and what the conditions are like.
Absolutely. They have a eagle's eye view on what's happening and how things happen. Let's look at the table standing right now, which is on our screen. You have India at the top, and you have New Zealand at number 2, South Africa still at number 3, Pakistan at number 4. Again, Tasmin, when you look at the table standing here, one thing is very evident, that yesterday's loss did not get South Africa down because of their net run rates. Do you want to take us through the procedure of net run rate, how it happens, and even despite a loss, you are at number 3?
Okay, so what actually this is based on the amount of runs you score.
Correct.
Versus the amount of runs you take people out for with the deficit they're left to collect thereafter. So we do know South Africa set a record-breaking 435 runs in their first game, as well as a big total again in their second game. Hence the reason why I said I'm out here questioning Themba Bavumuma's decision to actually go ahead and bowl first. Maybe he took into consideration the conditions and what may probably help them in turn if they had to bowl first.
Do you think that they haven't picked any understanding and learnings from the English side, because they perhaps did the same against Afghanistan? Would you believe that?
Yeah, I'm not exactly clear on what his thought processes would have probably been. I'm thinking maybe they took weather into consideration, thinking that if they are chasing the total, all they need to do was stay ahead of the run rate and be able to chase it down. So in the instance that it does rain, they have Duckworth and Lewis on their side. Obviously, it didn't go according to plan for them. Maybe they didn't foresee the fact that the ball was going to skid on. And I think they played one too many shots for me personally, down in the middle order.
Well, when was the last time? We are 30%, 1/3 of the time over from this tournament is already done. When was the last time you had England at 5, Australia at 9, and Sri Lanka at 10? And remember, these are all World Cup winning teams.
Now, I actually can't remember a time personally in my career knowing and seeing Australia at the bottom of the table. And like I said, coming from one of those nations that's always been underrated as well, it's a great thing to see the gap getting smaller and smaller amongst these bigger playing nations, as well as associates or teams that just aren't rated up there as well.
Well, that's an interesting take. Naledi, where does South Africa go from here, Naledi?
Definitely back to the drawing board. Like I said, that there's certainly players like Themba Bavuma who also need to be spoken to, because that is so unacceptable from a captain of the team. And I believe that another thing that we need to do is to stop undermining teams. I think we went into this game against Netherlands underestimating what they can do, considering the fact that we've won 6 times against them. So they finally made it 6-1 and to just clinch that victory against us.
Well, just to hold on to that thought, Tasmin, at this stage, do you think a tournament practice is required, not just the bilateral series where you go and take on player versus player, team versus team? Here you have to take on the entire tournament where exactly 9 teams play with and against you. So do you think it's a different kind of mindset and different kind of training? And what you see on screen, something like the past head-to-head has no relevance. This is what we've seen in the last 3 days?
Yeah, definitely. One thing you must realize is teams are out here doing analysis on each other after every game, be it prior to the World Cup beginning as well as their current form during this World Cup. So teams do go back to the drawing board. Teams do dissect each other. Something that was big for me last night was the captain of Netherlands. Every time a certain batter came in, he already had a plan for them. He already had a specific bowler to go to somebody.
Just one point here. When they were doing this and whenever there was a drinks break, did you notice a little note scribbled on the paper, and O'Dowd would pick it out very clearly, read it, and they would go for the matchups. Do you think this is allowed in international cricket? I'm just asking you, considering that it reminds us of Hanse Cronje's thing in '99 with the earplug. Your views?
I don't think there's any law against it personally because, you know, it's a game. People are out there, there's pressure, there's a lot of things going on in a captain's mind, and he's, as a wicketkeeper as well, he's got to think field placements for his players, he's got to think strategy for his players at the same time. So obviously you have a couple of senior guys in the team that will be there to help assist in instances like this. Writing on a piece of paper, we've seen it happen in a couple of games way before this. We've seen it happening throughout the IPL as well, where guys pull out a piece of paper. There was actually a running joke about it at some point. And I don't think there's anything wrong with giving yourself a reminder.
It's an ICC World Cup. Do you think that is permissible, or is there an unfair advantage to the team using the paper? Just if you were to look at it from a chopper's view, your views, Tasmin. As a player who's played the international tournaments for 15 years, you've got to tell us the fact.
I personally have no dispute against it. Like, if guys need to find a reminder, we can all start writing on papers.
Well, that's an interesting thought.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.